And now to the Philippines, a country struggling to cope with its rapidly growing population. Tonight's story is part of a new project that looks at the challenge of feeding the world in a time of social and environmental change. It's a NewsHour partnership with the Center for Investigative Reporting, Homeland's Productions, and American Public Media's Marketplace. The project is called Food for 9 Billion. The reporter for tonight's story is Sam Eaton of Homeland's Productions.
The Dinahan Double Barrier Reef off of Bohol Island in the southern Philippines is one of the richest marine biodiversity hotspots in the world. But just a short boat ride away, more than 1 million people depend on these fishing grounds for their food and livelihoods. Rice may be the staple food of the Philippines, but fish provide most of the protein in daily diets. And as the population of communities like this one soar, nearly tripling in the last 3 decades, the effect on the reef has been devastating. Fishermen are resorting to extreme tactics to boost their declining catch.
We captured one boat this morning.
Nazario Avenido and his group of volunteers operate 24-hour patrols trying to protect their local fishing grounds. Illegal fishing has become rampant. Many use dynamite or cyanide, indiscriminately killing everything within their reach. Avenido has confiscated more than 50 boats and hundreds of illegal nets in recent years. Today, he seized this boat. Its owner, who escaped capture, was using a banned net that wreaks havoc on spawning grounds and sensitive corals. Avenido says the violators aren't bad people. They're just hungry.
Because there is no other solution, especially when they are a very poor family.
Poor in a country that has one of the highest population growth rates in all of Southeast Asia, every year adding about 2 million more mouths to feed.
It's a hell of a problem. I think you just need to look at the statistics.
Congressman Walden Bello says the Philippines is already beyond its carrying capacity. And that's today, with a population just shy of 100 million people.
And so the demographers are really worried because they feel that most likely at the earliest we'll be stabilizing at around 200 million in 2080.
That eventual doubling of the population presents an existential threat to the Philippines, especially for the people who depend on its natural resources for food. I traveled to a rural fishing village called Umay-Umay to see how the issues of population growth, food, and the environment are connected. And what I found was surprising. Jason Bostero and his wife Krishna both grew up in large families typical of this area. But unlike the generations before them, the Bosteros made a deliberate choice to have only 2 children, James and Cyril Jean, ages 6 and 9.
My income is just right to feed us 3 times a day. It's really, really different when you have a small family.
That choice to have a smaller family was motivated by memories of going hungry as young children.
In my case, we were really hard up before. Sometimes we would only eat once a day because we were so poor. We couldn't go to school. I did not finish school because there were just so many of us.
The reason the Bosteros were able to have a smaller family is because they could choose to. A community-based family planning program has made birth control options like the pill accessible and affordable at about 70 cents a month for the first time in their village.
In villages, we train and identify community-based distributors like this to be able to sell pills and condoms anytime.
Dr. Joan Castro started the program here.
This becomes as easy as buying soft drinks or matches.
She's with the Path Foundation Philippines, a group funded mostly through USAID. And what makes her program unique is its emphasis on local partners.
Which brand of birth control pills are you selling more of?
Well, they like the yellow one because it's cheaper.
How much is it?
It used to be 35 pesos, then it was 38, now it's 41.
The idea is to be able to bring access to the people.
Access that in remote villages like Umay-Umay was non-existent before the Path Foundation came in. In just 6 years since the program was first established here, family sizes have plummeted from as many as 12 children to a maximum of about 4 today. This village is one of the Path Foundation's longest-running case studies, and what it's showing is how closely tied family planning is with environmental conservation and putting food on the table. Out on the Dinahan Double Barrier Reef, where Jason Bostero fishes every morning, the shift to smaller families is already paying dividends. He and his neighbors have created a marine preserve to help revive fish stocks, and it's working. With smaller families, thinking about future generations is a luxury fishermen like Bostero can afford.
Family planning is helpful because if you control the number of your children, you don't need as many fish to support your family. If you have many children, it's difficult to support them.
Outside of Umayamay, where birth control remains largely out of reach, the struggle to put food on the table from one day to the next dominates life. Down the road, the gymnasium in the region's main town, Ubay, was filled recently with people waiting to collect government assistance checks for food. Many stood in line for up to 12 hours. For the families gathered here, these checks are a lifeline, making up for the declining catch from the sea. This scene is one that neighboring countries like Thailand and Indonesia have largely avoided thanks to state-sponsored family planning programs. But Congressman Walden Bello says in the Philippines, any efforts to do the same have faced stiff resistance.
What's happening is what we've witnessed recently, which is, a hardline, scorched earth opposition on the part of the Catholic Church hierarchy to any form of artificial contraception.
And in a country that's 80% Catholic, that opposition means something. For more than a decade, the church's leadership has rallied against a reproductive health bill in Congress that would guarantee universal access to birth control. Recently, it even threatened the president with excommunication for supporting the bill.
That's why I said, don't fool with the church, because she will bury you.
Filipino Archbishop Emeritus Oscar Cruz says the key to everyone having enough food to eat is a question of development, not population control.
Once I was asked, which would you prefer, to have less mouth to feed or to have more food to eat? And I said, is there a choice there? Come on, if you have more mouth to feed, then produce more food to eat, not the other way around.
But that challenge to produce more food is already testing the limits of ecosystems, both on land and sea. Today, the Philippines imports more rice than any other nation on the planet. And according to the World Bank, every major species of fish here shows signs of severe overfishing. Technological advances have helped boost the food supply, but they failed to keep pace with the Philippines' surging population growth. Maternity wards like this one at a Manila hospital are overwhelmed. Dr. Esmeraldo Elim heads the hospital's family planning unit, but spends most of his time these days with new mothers.
She's only 29 years old. This is her 7th child.
According to the Guttmacher Institute, more than half of all pregnancies in the Philippines are unintended. It's the poor who come here for maternity care. But if they want to prevent pregnancies, they're out of luck. Absent any state funding for birth control, Dr. Elim has little to offer. That's a stark contrast to the Bohol Island fishing village, Umay, where family planning is as close as the corner store. Here, the Path Foundation Philippines program has taken on a life of its own. The project is now fully integrated with the local government's rural health unit.
The vision of the project is, in this community, you see more children educated who are able to become leaders and speak out for themselves in the future and be able to become stewards of their own sexuality and the future environment. This is the legacy.
Dr. Castro says success stories like this one can help overcome traditional attitudes about birth control. Jason and Krishna Bostero, both practicing Catholics, don't see a conflict between their religious beliefs and family planning. For them, it's about something much more immediate, like what kind of future they're going to pass on to their 2 children.
I don't want them to be like us, just to fish the sea, just to farm the land. This is not an easy way to earn a living. You are exposed to the sun. It's better if they can finish their courses so they can have comfortable lives.
With both of their children in school, the Bosteros are hopeful about their future. But it's a future that could easily be overwhelmed by outside forces. After all, this is only one village in a country still deadlocked over a family planning law, in a world that's projected to have 9 billion mouths to feed by the middle of the century.
Sam Eaton's reporting on the Philippines food story continues tonight on American Public Media's Marketplace. Listen to it on your public radio station. You can also find an interactive map, a timeline, and many more resources at the Food for 9 Billion website. There's a link to it on newshour.pbs.org.